So we go through publishing and promotion. So, how to choose a platform, right? So the things that I always like to ask myself when I want to choose a platform is like, is it easy to be found, right? So some people like to be like their own island, in a sense, and that works for them. Some people like to be part of something a little bit bigger, and that works that works for them. So see what works best for you and choose, and but always think about, okay, is it easy to be found, right? The other thing is, if it is a platform, is it a platform that is that allows me to just upload things and then I do all the work about everything, or it is a platform that is specifically on a subject. Like, for example, CG Circuit. One of the things that I like it because I built it, but I built it because I believed in creating a platform that was focused on a subject, and the subject that I like is the CG, right? So is it something, when you choose something, I think it's good to be part of something that other people are joining, and so that if a person that wants to find a tutorial on something related to CG, they can think about the platform and say, okay, let me see if there is something there. So that's a good thing to think about. Also, there are some platforms that do the promotions for you, and sometimes so when those kinds of platforms, they do the promotions for you. Just make sure that it is promotion, the type of promotion is what works for you, right? For example, we at CG Circuit, we do promotion, like we pay to do some Facebook advertisement for people. But before we do anything, we do contact the author and say, hey, we're thinking about this. What do you think? And we work together to create a campaign together. I know that there is some other platforms out there that they just, even if the content is like $1,000, they just sell it for $9.99, right? And the author doesn't have any control over that. So those are the things that you might want to think about. Maybe it works for you. That's great. But do think about that stuff. Also, like, obviously look at the payment system, see if the payment is something that works for you, and also video protection. So Vishal here asked if there are any steps that we take for piracy. So piracy is one of the things that it's always on my mind. It's always on at CG Circuit, we always think about that, and we do we have the technology that we have behind our video streaming is really powerful. But as you can see, even Netflix and places like that, they don't have 100% protection. I think that if somebody tells you there is 100% protection, they're either not telling the truth, or that 100% protection is going to last 3 months because people are going to find another way to get in and steal videos. That's just going to happen, right? So it's really hard for me to say that because but it's just the truth.
It's true. That's the way it is. There's nothing that can't be stolen that's digital. It's just the way it is. All you can do is discourage it, which goes a long way. Mm-hmm. I know that my lessons have been recorded, but that's really all you need to do. There's really nothing that could prevent somebody from, at the very least, somebody could always point their camera recorder at their screen and record it. So it's like, there's literally nothing that can stop it. Exactly. And even easier than that, people could do a Camtasia recording, ironically, of it. But being able to discourage it, the streaming nature of it discourages it quite a bit. And often in the time that's most critical, which is when it first comes out. Mm-hmm. Yep. It will take time for someone usually to gravitate towards figuring out how to Camtasia it, and then they have to cut the videos up, and then they have to upload it and everything else. So I think that the streaming way that it is done here is really the best case scenario. Mm-hmm. For this kind of thing.
Yeah, and also I like to also mention here that that's why it's very important that you don't make it about selling. It's really the thing is about helping people, because when you start helping people, you know, you're going to create a relationship with those people. And so when you establish that relationship, you know, there are people, even though somebody steals your tutorial and it's out there, those people are not gonna, most likely those people are not gonna watch it pirated, right?
For sure, for sure. And even crazier than that, I've had so many people that are fans of Applied Houdini show me where things are being pirated, or if somebody like took my lesson and was like transformed it not into their own lesson, but there was one person who was selling the results of the lesson, the actual like Houdini file that I help you create.
I see.
And so there's people like pointed it out to me, and I was able to resolve it with that person. Like, hey, listen, maybe don't do that anymore. And after some discussion, it worked out. So, but the point is that your customers will become advocates for it because they want to see you succeed. I mean, I was at a movie last night at an independent movie theater, and I bought $6 popcorn. Not because I had to, because I wanted to see that movie theater succeed. I have a relationship with this local cinema. It's just like, yeah, most people are not like that. And most people, honestly, probably wouldn't even know where to find the pirated things anyway.
Yeah.
So the overall, it is an issue, but in the same way that the movies and music industries have soldiered on in the face of piracy, it won't end up being a big deal.
Yeah. And also, as a platform, besides the technology side of things, if you know, like Steve said, we do, either the authors or people that like the platform, they come to us and say, hey, look at this link, they're sharing this tutorial. And when that happens, we have the systems in place that, you know, we contact in official ways, sometimes forceful ways, to contact the host of the
and that can work, actually. Surprisingly so. If you do have a relationship with a lot of these file hosting websites, they don't necessarily want to be party to this. I mean, they let it happen. They turn a blind eye to it, but then once you point it out, they'll take it down. And a lot of time, these people that pirated your stuff in the first place, they stole it, put it up, and moved on. So if you get it taken down, a lot of times it actually doesn't go back up again.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great that CG Circuit, you know, does that too.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're curious about this, at the bottom in the footer, there is a link that says DMCA notice. Read through that, and those are basically the umbrella that we are under to avoid that this happens. So to make sure that we take the appropriate steps for protecting the content. Okay, so after you chose a platform, then you know you have the content. Now it's time for you to put yourself out there, right? So create your profile on whatever platform. You know, what you see here is the part of the profile on my profile on CG Circuit. So make sure that you complete it 100%. The last thing you want to do is that to have a great content and then they go on your profile and it's empty, right? People want to, again, they want to establish that relationship with you. So make sure that it's 100% completed. Don't put as much info, put as much info. Sorry about the typo. So again, put as much info on you as possible, and post images of your work, because again, people like to see what you've done in the past, you know, how you know, credible you are. So if you have stuff like that, great, put it on. And also, as far as a picture, put a good picture of yourself there. If you don't want to show yourself, you know, I advise against it, but if you just don't want to put your image out there, create at least an appealing one, an avatar that is appealing, and you know, stuff like that. But again, your profile is really what people are going to pay a lot of attention to. Then another thing that that your platform should provide is a way for you to monitor traffic, right? So analytics. So you should have, you know, your platform should have a place where you can take your, like if you go on Google Analytics, you can sign up for it, it's free, and then they will give you an ID. you should choose a platform that allows you to paste the ID in your profile, and CG Circuit does that. So that way you can track all the traffic that goes through your pages, right? So the things that you should really track and should really pay attention to is, of course, how many people visited, but also you can track things like, okay, where did the traffic came from? Did it come from Facebook? Did it come from another website that you have no idea, that, you know, maybe a blog somewhere posted a link to your site, and so a lot of people are coming from that. That's a good way for you to say, oh, I like that blog. You know, they posted already something on me. Maybe I can connect with them and say, hey, do you want to interview me? Stuff like that. But also, if you end up paying for, you know, one of the things that some people do is to go in places like ArtStation, and we do the same thing, and pay ArtStation so that you can post an article about your tutorial and everything. So if you do that, they will say, okay, I gave you a certain amount of what's the term? I'm forgetting the term now, of impression of your banner on ArtStation. So, and then they'll give you some numbers, right? Like how many people clicked on that banner, right? So with this, if you have a Google Analytics set up on the site, you will be able to see how many people came from ArtStation, so that you can determine, okay, is it worth for me paying again ArtStation to do advertising again? And I know ArtStation has been really, really great working with. They have an insane amount of traffic. So if you want to do like really, really focused advertisement, do it through there, because it really.
That's good advice. I don't do that yet.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah. I mean, they are on the expensive side of the advertisement, but
if it's as targeted as it would be, it's
exactly
can be more valuable anyway.
And they have millions of people, literally millions of people every month.
Yeah, it seems like everyone hosts their demo reels on ArtStation these days, so that makes sense.
Yeah. But also, you should track also what course they visited more. If you have more than one course, you will be able to see which one is the most successful course, so that you can start thinking, what was about that tutorial that was successful? Was it the subject? Is it something different I did? So you can start investigating more for your future tutorials. But also the bounce rate. The bounce rate is the rate at which people, so the amount of people that come in, and how many people out of those people that came in a certain page, they left the page within the first few seconds. So that means that there was something that didn't interest them, something wrong with the page, something that they didn't like. So as soon as you see a high bounce rate on a certain page, go and check out what was wrong, right? And then ask yourself, ask your audience, and everything. Yeah, basically that's what it basically just said. So courses with more bounce rate it's a good thing to track. So at the end, then you can upload your content. So what you see here is a little screenshot from the CG Circuit Create Course page. And so this is also the time when you start using the research data, and then choose a price. The price is a science. It's an art. So there is a lot of talk that we can give about pricing. But when you choose a price, think of the value that you're giving to people. And then obviously your rate, you don't want to make things too cheap. You need to make it like, if you want to, like, a lot of people have very hard time charging, the money that they think they deserve, because they think nobody's going to pay me that money. But there's a lot of work that you put into this. If you think that you're giving a lot of value to people, just pick the price that works for you. You will not regret it later. So then promotion strategies. Again, we talked a little bit about this, the promo video magnet on YouTube and Vimeo. So, and like Stephen was saying, put a free video out there with a link to CG Circuit. Another thing that you can do is to share the page on Facebook, and then you can boost the post. And by boosting, that's when you go into choosing the right audience. And so you give it a budget. You can say, I don't want to spend more than X on this campaign. And then Facebook will determine the best course of action there and put it in front of as many people as possible with that budget. And then use the platform tools. One of the things that Stephen does really, really well is that every time that there is a new tutorial online, he goes on CG Circuit, and in CG Circuit, there's a way to email the people that have purchased your previous content. But also, there's also a functionality where you have your own link, and then by using that link, you get a lot more money for those transactions. So that's exactly what Steven does. He emails everybody that purchased previously and say, hey, I just published this new tutorial, check it out. So definitely use whatever tools the platform gives you. And then again, using the research, go to those groups and to those places that your audience is hanging out and post links there. And again, reach out to blogs and podcasts to see if they are interested in creating a content about you and your content. All right, Steve. So you talked a little bit about the promotion that you do here, right?